Waking up at 3 a.m. can feel like a quiet confession your soul whispers before the world opens its eyes. In that stillness, when everything is silent and your thoughts grow louder, remember this: you are not breaking, you are awakening. Life often nudges us in the darkest hours because that is when we finally listen. Those 3 a.m. moments, where your heart feels heavy and your mind drifts toward worries you never speak aloud, are not signs of weakness but signals of transformation. Your body is telling you something important. You have carried too much for too long. Instead of fearing those early awakenings, see them as an invitation to breathe, to reset, to reconnect with the version of you that has been neglected under responsibility, exhaustion, and silent battles. At 3 a.m., your strength is stripped of noise, and in that raw honesty, you find clarity. Let this be the moment you choose healing versus stress, reflection over panic, and self-compassion over self-criticism. You are allowed to pause. You are allowed to rebuild. And most importantly, you are allowed to rise stronger, calmer, and more aligned with the life you truly deserve. Waking up at 3 a.m. is not just a disruption in your sleep, it's an emotional signal, a quiet whisper from the deepest part of your being that something within you is asking to be heard. These awakenings are not failures, not signs of weakness, and certainly not proof that you are losing control. Instead, they are moments when your inner world becomes louder than your outer world, when your heart speaks in a language that your daytime distractions often drown out. At 3 a.m. there is no noise, no rush, no obligations demanding your attention. There is only you, raw, honest, and unfiltered, and that honesty can feel overwhelming. But it is also where your healing begins. So many people carry burdens that never leave their lips: regrets, fears, silent grief, old memories that linger in the corners of the mind, stress that stacks quietly on the inside. During the day, you may push through, act strong, smile when you re-hurting, stay busy so you don't have to feel. But at 3 a.m., the mask falls away. Your mind becomes a mirror, showing you what you have suppressed, postponed, or ignored. Instead of treating these moments as interruptions, see them as invitations, opportunities to reconnect with yourself. You are not being punished. You are being asked to pause long enough to understand what your soul has been trying to say. Sometimes you wake up because your heart is tired, not your body. You might be carrying a loneliness you haven't named, a dream you have abandoned, a fear you haven't faced. Sometimes you restuck in cycles of stress, reliving tomorrow row before today even ends, and sometimes 3 a.m. arrives because life is preparing you for something new, something that requires strength, clarity, and emotional truth. The darkness of that hour doesn't mean despair, it means depth. In that silence, your emotions stretch out and make themselves asking to be acknowledged instead of avoided. You are not broken because you wake up early. You are not falling apart because your mind won rest. In fact, this might be the most powerful reminder that you are human, sensitive, intuitive, and deeply alive. Emotional signals come softly, but they come for a reason. Maybe you've outgrown something, an old habit, a draining relationship, a version of yourself that no longer fits. Maybe you've been living on autopilot, moving from task to task without truly breathing. Maybe you've been strong for so long that your strength has quietly turned into exhaustion. When you wake up at 3 a.m., try not to fear the stillness. Sit with it, breathe into it. Ask yourself, what part of me needs attention? Allow your thoughts to rise and flow without judgment. These moments can become the beginning of healing, a chance to release what has been weighing you down. You might discover clarity about something you've been ignoring. You might suddenly understand what has been draining your peace. You might even feel a shift in your spirit that tells you change is coming. The truth is, many people wake up at 3 a.m. because they in transition emotionally, mentally, or spiritually. Your mind wakes you because it wants to align with something better. These awakenings can strengthen you, help you grow, and guide you toward a more peaceful life if you stop seeing them as flaws. Every emotion has a message. Every restless night tells a story. And the storber why of your 3 a.m. awakening is not about failure. It's about transformation. You are allowed to rest. You are allowed to release. You are allowed to rise slowly, softly, and honestly. Let these early morning hours become your moment of truth, not a moment of fear. You are stronger than your restlessness. You are wiser than your worries. And even at 3 a.m., when the world is asleep and your heart feels exposed, you are still moving forward, growing, healing, and becoming more in tune with the life you deserve. Stillness can reveal what stress has been hiding, and nowhere is that more evident than in the quiet hours when the world feels paused and your thoughts have space to breathe. When life moves quickly, when responsibilities pile up, when you are constantly shifting from one task to the next, your mind becomes a crowded room full of noise, tension, and unresolved emotions. Stress has a way of disguising itself, slipping into your days in small pieces until you begin to think that heaviness is normal. But the moment stillness arrives, when everything is calm, when no one needs anything from you, when the world is asleep, that is when the truth rises to the surface. In stillness, your Heber-RT finally gets a chance to speak. The emotions you pushed aside because you didn't have the time or energy to face them begin to reveal themselves. You may feel sadness you never acknowledged, exhaustion you've been ignoring, or longing you've silenced for years. Stress hides these feelings during the day, burying them under schedules, responsibilities, and distractions. But in the quiet, there is nowhere for them to go, and that is not something to fear, it is something to understand. Stillness exposes how deeply you've been carrying burdens that were never meant to be held alone. It shows you the worries that have lingered beneath the surface, the fears you haven't confronted, the dreams you've delayed because survival came first. It reveals the ways you've been stretching yourself too thin, giving too much, tolerating too much, and sacrificing too much of your inner peace just to keep life moving smoothly. Stress numbs these truths. Stillness awakens them. Think of how often you've told yourself, "I'm fine," even when your body felt tired, your mind felt overwhelmed, and your heart felt distant. Think of the times you continued pushing, continued giving, continued pretending stopping felt impossible. Stress convinces you that pausing is dangerous, that slowing down will unravel everything. But the truth is, slowing down is the only way to truly see what needs healing. When the noise fades, clarity enters. In those quiet moments, you begin to recognize what is draining your energy: relationships that no longer support you, responsibilities that are no longer healthy, routines that keep you trapped instead of helping you grow. You begin to realize how often you've dismissed your needs to meet the needs of others. You start to see which parts of your life feel heavy, not because they are meaningful, but because they are unresolved. Stillness makes you honest. It forces you to face the emotions that stress kept hidden, grief that still lingers, anger you never expressed, heartbreak you never fully healed, disappointments you pushed aside to stay strong. And these revelations can feel uncomfortable, they are also deeply liberating. You cannot fix what you refuse to feel. You cannot heal what you never acknowledge. Stillness gives you the gift of awareness, and awareness is the beginning of transformation. When you allow yourself to sit quietly, even for a few minutes, you reconnect with your inner self, the version of you that isn't burdened by performance, pressure, or expectations. You begin to hear your intuition more clearly. You understand what your heart truly wants. You reconnect with the dreams you silenced because life got in the way. Stress hides your truth, but stillness reveals it. Many people fear silence because it feels unfamiliar. They are used to distraction, noise, and motion. But silence is not empty, it is full of answers. In stillness you realize how strong you've been, even when you didn't feel strong. You realize how much you've endured without breaking. You begin to see that you are deserving of rest, peace, and emotional clarity. Stillness is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of readiness. Readiness to face what stress buried, readiness to let go of what no longer serves you, readiness to make space for what will nourish your life moving forward. When you stop running, stop pretending, stop distracting yourself, you create space for healing, you create space for truth, you create space for growth. So embrace the silence, even if it feels unsettling at first. Let the stillness unravel the knots that stress tightened. Let it reveal the emotions you need to release, the changes you need to make, and the parts of yourself you need to reclaim. Stillness is in tea, the absence of life. It is the beginning of renewed life. It is where clarity is born, where healing begins, and where you rediscover the strength you forgot you had. Use early awakenings as moments to reset your inner peace, because those quiet hours before sunrise carry a power that daylight cannot offer. When you open your eyes in the stillness of dawn, when the world is untouched and everything feels softer, you are given a rare window into yourself, a moment unfiltered, undemanding, and deeply personal. These awakenings are not accidents or inconveniences, they are openings. They remind you that your mind and body are speaking to you, gently nudging you toward balance, clarity, and emotional rest. Instead of seeing these early moments as disruptions, imagine them as invitations and opportunity to breathe differently, think differently, and feel differently than you do in the rush of the day. In the early hours, your mind is calm enough to notice the thoughts you ignore when life moves at full speed. You may realize how much tension you've been holding, how much pressure you've placed on yourself, or how deeply you've neglected your own needs. Use this quiet time to release the weight you carry. Let your breathing slow. Let your shoulders drop. Let your thoughts drift without judgment. Early awakenings can become emotional resets, offering you a chance to sort through your inner world before the outside world begins demanding your attention. There is a natural softness to these hours, a gentleness that encourages reflection instead of reaction. You are not rushing. You are not performing. You are not being pulled by responsibilities, notifications, or expectations. You are simply present, and in that presence, healing becomes possible. When you wake early, ask yourself what your heart needs today. Is it rest? Is it forgiveness? Is it courage to let go of something that has been holding you back? Is it strength to step into something new? These early moments give you space to listen without noise and to feel without fear. Inner peace is not something you find by accident. It is something you choose intentionally. And these early awakenings offer you the perfect time to choose it. Maybe you take a few minutes to stretch your body, allowing tension to melt away. Maybe you sit in silence, letting your breath guide your mind into calm. Maybe you journal, releasing thoughts that have been trapped inside you. Maybe you simply place a hand over your heart and remind yourself, I am safe. I am healing. I am Grober Wing. When you begin your morning anchored in peace, the rest of your day becomes lighter. The stress that once controlled you loses its grip. The worries that once felt heavy begin to fade. The chaos that once overwhelmed you becomes manageable. Resetting your inner peace is not about fixing everything, it's about finding a place inside yourself that remains steady, no matter what the day brings. And the early hours are the best time to reconnect with that inner steadiness. These awakenings can also reveal how strong you truly are. You've survived long nights, long struggles, long chapters of uncertainty, and yet here you are, still waking up, still moving forward, still trying. There is power in simply waking early and choosing not to battle your thoughts but to understand them. There is courage in choosing reflection over frustration. There is healing in choosing peace over panic. Use early morning to remind yourself that you are more than your stress, more than your responsibilities, more than your fears. You are a person capable of change, capable of rest, capable of growth. And every time you wake early, you are given a moment to realign your heart with the life you want to create. These moments can become rituals, small acts of self-love that shape your emotional well-being. A quiet cup of tea, a whispered prayer, a few slow breaths, a moment of gratitude, whatever brings you closer to peace is worth embracing. Over time, these early awakenings will stop feeling like interruptions and start feeling like blessings. They will become reminders that your inner world matters, that your healing matters, that your peace matters. So the next time you find yourself awake before the sun, don't rush to fall back asleep. Instead, sit with the quiet, breathe into your stillness, and let this moment become the beginning of a gentler, calmer, more peaceful version of you. Use early awakenings as moments to reset your inner peace, because those quiet hours before sunrise hold a kind of clarity the rest of the day cannot offer. When you wake before the world does, you are given a rare chance to reconnect with yourself without noise, pressure, or expectation. Instead of fighting these moments or seeing them as interruptions, treat them as gentle reminders from within, signals that your mind and heart need space to breathe. In the silence of early morning, your thoughts settle, your emotions soften, and your inner world becomes easier to understand. This is the time to slow your breathing, release yesterday's heaviness, and choose calm over chaos. Even a few minutes of stillness can shift your entire day. Early awakenings can be healing if you let them. They allow you to notice what you've been carrying too tightly, what you've been avoiding, and what your heart has been quietly asking for. Use these moments to ground yourself, reflect, pray, stretch, or simply sit with your own presence. When you begin your day with intention and calm, you strengthen your spirit before life's demands even begin. These early hours are not interruptions. They are invitations to return to yourself.